Do dogs go to heaven? It's a loaded question. It's not a bad question, but it's loaded. As a pastor, you get questions that aren't really questions. People are seeking reassurance. And one of the things that we address in all seriousness are our relationship to our pets. And so people often really aren't asking you the question to say, are dogs in heaven or does my dog go to heaven? But they're saying, I need you to tell me that my dog is going to heaven or is in heaven. And to answer the question plainly, Scripture is not clear about our relationship to pets. It is mentioned in Scripture multiple times, our responsibility to care for creation. But the problem with the question, candidly, is the same problem that comes with many of our inquiries or our seeking understanding and a connection to the infinite. We are coming with a predetermined, preconceived notion of what the answer is. And so if we don't find that, we're not open to it. To say that God is sovereign is the starting point of a real theological reflection of faith. Words about God, theology. And the starting point for every belief should begin with God is sovereign. Now that word is not used a lot in everyday language. Nations are sovereign. That means they're independent and they have the right to govern themselves. Applied to God, it means God has the right and the authority to do what is needed to accomplish his divine purposes. God has the right and authority to choose who goes to heaven. And so we have to start with, are we willing to hear the answer that is revealed to us, or are we simply looking for affirmation for what we already believe? And to show you and to reveal to you and confirm to you how personal this is, I did a brief overview with my wife, Carrie, about this topic. And I have had more inquiries on this topic, even mentioning that I was going to do it, than I do a lot of others. My wife said instantly, I told her, the problem is it's really about wanting an answer and not listening to God to receive an answer. Even hearing that, she said, tell everybody, every single person that your wife Carrie said, my dog Taffy, who I grew up with, who died when she was 23 years old, she's in heaven. So you get the idea. It's personal. And all of us do it. We want somebody to give us an answer that we want to hear. The key to all of life is seeking answers from God, and the most concrete way we get answers to these big, broad questions is in Scripture. And so Scripture reveals to us that God is the author of salvation, and what is revealed in Scripture is that human beings are the priority of God's salvation. Now, there are some Bible verses here that have to do with this topic, specifically about the created order and eternity. But they are also not all literal, they're poetic. So, for example, the prophet writes, the lion will lie down with the lamb when God completes his business for the universe. Well, that's poetic language. It doesn't mean that we're literally going to be in some place where a lion and a lamb walk up. There are other references to the nature of the created order worshiping God. All of creation worships God. Anything that has life recognizes the holiness of God. But that does not elevate those life-filled things with humans. So the starting point, God is sovereign. He has the right and the authority to choose who goes to heaven, is the starting point. Our pets, unfortunately, are not really discussed in Scripture. What is discussed is that we have a responsibility to care for and nurture creation. So, do dogs go to heaven? I can't answer that. My wife can, and a lot of people can. But what I can tell you is that when we get to heaven, a lot of these things that are concerns of ours will be revealed, and they will not be sources of anxiety. So love your pets, take care of them because that is your job. But focus first on who does the choosing of salvation and your response to God's sovereignty. He is Lord of all. There's a little bit more to read on this, and here's the article. I'll put a couple of statements about God's sovereignty to keep the conversation going. Thanks for tuning in. God bless.